This informational video is brought to you by Luscombe & Co., letting agents in Newport, South Wales.
If you rent out your property in Newport, you need to be keenly aware of your cash flow at all times. Control of cash flow is something that can make the difference between a successful rental property and something that ends up being more harm than good to your financial well-being over the long run. Although some rental properties can return a negative cash flow for a certain initial period, having good control over the financials can ensure that the negative cash flow never becomes more than you have predetermined yourself to be able to handle, and can ensure a profitable investment in the long term. Starting with proper planning in this important financial aspect of letting your property is the first step in controlling it in the long term. You need to take into account all projected income and expenses, as well as contingencies. If you are not financially savvy, the best thing to do is to get help from someone with experience in cash management, preferably with experience in property rental as well. Your local Newport letting agent can help you in this regard. They will be able to help you understand the level of rent you will be able to get, the expected occupancy rate, the typical associated expenses, and the possible unforeseen expenses that you will need to protect against by building up contingency funds. Rent collection is an area that needs to be considered carefully. If your tenants stop paying full rent for whatever the reason, this can be a major problem. Handling the rent collection yourself should only be done if you know what you are doing and you are prepared to fight any potential battles that may arise with the tenants. Some of the better letting agents in Newport can provide rent collection as a standard service, ensuring that it is returned to you every month in a timely manner. The Newport letting agent may even guarantee your rent if it is part of the service that you agree with them. When rent is collected, it is prudent to bank checks immediately. Often, tenants make the assumption that because you own the property, you must be wealthy. This is often not the case with landlords, but tenants often use this reasoning as an excuse to sometimes pay rent late. This can, of course, damage your cash flow and your ability to pay your own expenses on time. If tenants notice that you are in the habit of banking checks only a number of days after rent is paid, they can get into a habit of writing checks without sufficient funds in their accounts at the time. Be careful about training your tenants to think this way. They need to know that you expect rent to be paid on time, every time, which you need to demonstrate by your actions. One trick is to write late payment penalties into the rental agreement, which can let tenants know that you are serious about timely payment of rent. People often try harder to do something that will limit loss. If you ever experience problems with a rental property that you are self-managing, it is wise to speak to your local Newport letting agent, even just to see what services they can provide. Good letting agents will be clear and upfront with you about the costs of their services, as well as what is and is not included in their various levels of service. Using a letting agent is an investment that can justify its own expense by the convenience and peace of mind that you will have. To learn more about how to rent property in Newport, contact Newport letting agents Luscombe & Company. They provide a high standard of professional property management in Newport, South Wales.
This video was brought to you by Luscombe & Co., letting agents in Newport, South Wales. Call them to discuss your property needs as a landlord or prospective tenant on 01 633 265 222.